My friends, this is Danielle. Welcome to my channel. This is the Hogan Life, and today I want to talk about how to stay patient while parenting toddlers. Hands down, patience is something that we should be talking about. It is difficult to maintain patience when you're parenting, not just toddlers. I find that my older ones have even tried my patience maybe more so than my toddlers. Because toddlers, there's just certain excusable behaviors. They're little, they're young, they don't know any better, they're learning, all those things. With the older ones, you've been teaching them for a lot of years and you're like, shouldn't you know better by now? And so it can drive you to impatience or anger or insanity faster than the toddlers, in my opinion. I want to reiterate that I am a mom. I want to enjoy what I do. I have to do it every day. I love doing it. This is my job currently. This is my purpose, but I want to enjoy it. And when I find that I am 0 to 10 in 5 seconds or less, I realize that it's not just an issue with my children. It's an issue with me. Because kids do kid stuff. They're very aggravating and just so endearing and so remarkable that you just want to squeeze them and hug them and love them and pinch their cheeks and spank their butts all at the same time because they're just amazing. Patience is something I'm always working on because I notice that I need to work on it all the time. First, I want to ask the question, why am I feeling so impatient? Well, I think the short answer, if we're going to just do the short answer, is my children are not listening to me. Or my children aren't obeying me. My children are doing what I told them not to do. My children are getting into everything. One thing to remember when you're dealing with kids is for children, these are isolated events to them. Like you come in and you see frozen blueberries all over the kitchen floor. True story. And not only that, there's tons of stuff from the freezer that's just all over the floor. Obviously something happened there. You come in and all your toddler was trying to do was get frozen blueberries. He wanted frozen blueberries, but he had to grab a bunch of stuff. Everything fell out. Then when he was opening the bag, it spilled and the frozen blueberries went all over the floor. This is just an incident to him that is, I wanted blueberries, therefore I tried to get blueberries. For you as a mom, this could be anywhere from the third bad thing that just happened in your morning, or I can't possibly handle it anymore. It is the straw that broke the camel's back, if we're going to use an old adage. So to you, who has so much more on her plate, this could bring you to an angry adult temper tantrum in an instant. Whereas to a child, it's just one mistake. Treating things with toddlers as more of an isolated incident is really, really important psychologically for us moms. We can't bring in our entire last hour into this incident with your toddler. But how? How? First thing I want you to do is breathe. This might seem simple and easy, but actually a couple of just, and this gives you the perfect opportunity to, wait for it, think. So often as a mom, we get in the habit of instantly responding without thinking. And this leads me to number 2. Don't react. You give yourself a couple seconds and then you respond, you don't react. So reactive parenting is when something happens and right away, you don't look at the bigger picture, you don't think through what you're about to do, and you deal with the situation the same way you might deal with a million other situations. Each situation can be dealt with just as one incident. So don't react, respond. Number 3 is sit down. All of us as moms have had that instance where something happens and this is how you feel. It's almost like you have this lion coming out. You're reacting to the situation. You're frustrated, you're impatient, you're angry, and it's like, whew. So I want to recommend sitting down. It in so many ways just calms the situation right down, and instead of reacting, it's easier to respond, to think through, to soften your voice before you just have at it. And that leads me to number 4, speak softly. It's interesting that impatience always is combined with loud speaking because it's really hard to get your point across when you're angry or upset in a soft voice. But if you do, that really diffuses the emotion of the situation. And let's be real, as a mom, There's a lot of emotion. There's a lot of pressure. These are your children. You are training them up. You are responsible for them. Oh, there's so much pressure. It's so important to have these tiny habits that train you as a parent to take a second to realize this really isn't that big of a deal in the scheme of things. The next few ideas I have for you really deal with your mental headspace, reminding yourself of things. And the first is just remind yourself that they are little. This isn't an excuse for them to behave bad, but them acting badly is not an excuse for us as moms to behave bad. And that's just a good way to realize, okay, these little children are little. They do little children things. So it doesn't mean you're not going to discipline them for doing things that you told them not to do. It doesn't mean that you're going to let them get away with bad behavior and temper tantrums and saying no to you and whatever it is that you're training them. It just means that in that training, you are in control. What? If you just take in your everyday moments a tiny second to remember, I am their example. This is a big dun 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 moment in parenting where you're like, I am trying to teach them how to be patient here with their siblings. You have to be patient. And you're just over the top. I am trying to teach them good behavior. Oh dear, here I am trying to teach good behavior while acting bad. I'm talking to myself here, people. Hands down, children learn the best by example. If you take a second and sit down and breathe through and respond instead of react, they're going to see that example. And they're not just going to see it once. And that is what they will do eventually. Maybe not now, but they will eventually learn how to deal with their emotions because they watched you deal with your emotions. And the next point is, I want you to be quick to apologize. This is something I have to practice all the time with my older kids because I don't do everything right. And I want them to see a genuineness in my parenting that isn't, okay, you will obey me, you will listen to me, I'm the parent, you are the child, and I have it all figured out. That's not true. So when I make mistakes, I need to say, that was a mistake and I'm sorry. Even with my little ones, if I am responding in a way that I already know, that's not the best, I can sit down and say right away, without justifying my behavior, I'm sorry. Sit down and then talk to them. They'll remember that. And they will learn by example that if you make a mistake, being quick to apologize is what we do. Okay, finally, I want you to use an external reminder. This is what I mean. I like to use scripture. It is so powerful to realize that in this parenting journey, you are not alone. A really encouraging and phenomenal scripture to use and to have in your head, maybe all day long, is Psalms 121, where the psalmist said, I lift my eyes up to the hills. Where? Where does my help come from? And then he answers himself and says, my help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. And all I have to say to myself is my help comes from the Lord. When I'm dealing with littles and I need to keep my patience and I'm struggling with that, I can use an external help, which is, I have God. I'm not doing this thing by myself. And I'm going to remind myself of that by using his scriptures and saying my help comes from the Lord. And don't pick out like 100 scriptures. These are the reasons you have to keep it all together. No, just pick one that is really remarkably encouraging to you and use that and use it every day. Same one. My help comes from the Lord. Therefore, I am capable of acting out patience for my children. Please subscribe to my channel and go ahead and click that like button.